Om Stapakaya Cha Dharmasya Sarvadharmasvarupine Avatara Varishtaya Ramakrishnaya Te Namah Jananim Sharadam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagadgurum Padapadme Tayo Sritva Pranamami Mahormuhu Namasri Yatirajaya Vivekananda Sure Sanchit Sukasvarupaya Swamini Tapahari. So let us continue our study of the great master, Ramakrishna and his divine play. So last time we were just discussing this portion where Sharat Maharaj was trying to clarify our doubts in the form of question answers. First of all, the question, why do we not perceive that all is Brahman? If Brahman alone is the reality, is the only truth, that should be obvious to all of us. Why don't we see that? In answer says, we are deluded. We are in a state of ignorance. There's a covering or maya in various ways is explained. Now, supposing there are so many such nice chairs. Supposing you put a cloth over here. You say, oh, there is no chair. I only see a black color, darkness, nothing. Does it mean that there are no chairs? Then if anyone asks you, why don't you see those chairs? Then you have to remove those blinkers. You have to remove that covering. This covering is called ajnana or ignorance or delusion or maya. So, how can you detect it? We recognize our delusions only comparing our perceptions with real objects or states. You need to have a basis for comparison in order to discover the delusion. See, normally what happens, supposing you remove that covering for some time, you see those chairs. Then again you put that covering. Then, even though it is covered, there is a reality in front of me which I am not seeing because of cover. Supposing someone is born blind, so to say. Whatever color, whatever is there inside, that person will never be able to recognize all his life unless that blindness is removed somewhere or other. So similarly, to have a perception of the ultimate truth or Brahman or whatever it is, you have to, unless you're able to compare it with what is real, how do you really know? See, as far as the things in the existential world are concerned, they are all received through the senses. So it's very easier to understand this proposition. But when it comes to the ultimate, where is the comparison? How do we know? It's only what some people say, is it not? But then, unless, that's why, in our Hindu philosophy, the highest pramana is Shastra Pramana. That is the highest. There is nothing beyond that. Your anubhava, your logic, deduction by arguments, etc., they all come much later. The highest pramana is Shastra Pramana, the truth of the scriptures, because it was genuinely believed that scriptures are the products or the outcome of great seers, their vision, their realization. Nobody doubted that because from time to time such extraordinary souls have lived who had really proved the veracity or the verifiable nature or the correctness of the truth of the Shastras. बहुत लोग समय समय पर ऐसे जीते जीने रहते थे. It is not that everything is only imagination. So आपका ये देश का, भारत का, समाज का आप हिस्ट्री देखें, इतिहास. Time and again such people have lived. It's not that So, it's very really recorded versions of the lives of so many, which stand as Praman for the Shastra. They prove the Shastra by their lives. So, if it's possible for one person, it's possible for me also. Only thing is, I have to follow same discipline, same path, same methodology. It's a science. So, Swamiji clearly writes in Raja Yoga. Is one yoga which does not depend upon any belief. It's pure science. You practice, you get it. The method, the steps are given one after the one after another. Eh? Asana, pranayam, then pratyahara, dharana, dhyan, samadhi. Everything is clearly given one after another. You do it, you get it. So in other experiences like the Advaita experience, etc., you have the history of people who have lived that life. So ultimately, whatever it is, it should reflect in the life we live, is it not? I can claim that I am a great realized soul, but how do I live? That should prove that. Otherwise, it is meaningless. Why do we not perceive that all is Brahman deluded? What is the cause of the delusion? When did it come to us? So that is the question. Invariably, if you say that you are deluded, if you have ignorance, if you have Maya, how is it that came? So this is the difficulty of the Advaita philosophy. Each philosophy has limitations. Why? Because philosophy is again a creation of the mind. Philosophy is not realization. Philosophy is interpretation of the truth of the scriptures in the light of one's own experience. Whichever way I experience it, I give an interpretation, I give an explanation, I give an idea of how this all happens. So it's my idea. So obviously, when it is my idea, my background, the way I was brought up, the way I went through sadhana, all that come into play. So accordingly, the descriptions differ, the ideas differ. So obviously, there is a limitation in every philosophy because the ultimate truth is beyond the senses. That's why he says, no, eto vacho nivartanti aprapya manasasa. So everything, the walk or the speech and the mind come back without really capturing it. Because they can't. It's avang manasa gochara. It's beyond walk and manas. So obviously, whatever we produce in the form of philosophy or books or writings, etc., they are within the realm of walk and mind. It's only the ideas of the mind that are put it into words or expressed as speech or words, etc. So obviously, it cannot be the ultimate truth because ultimate truth means beyond their senses, belonging to a transcendental realm. So sitting here, I cannot go to moon with the same dress, with the same apparel. You need a different kind of dress, different kind of preparation, different kind of thing. Otherwise, you'll be blown to pieces if you go with this. Similarly, to go there, you need a different kind of preparation, different understanding, different this thing, then only it is possible. So obviously, it is not working that way. It is not the way to understand all that. You have to do it very differently. And then you really reach the highest. So what is the main difficulty in this philosophy? Advaita Vedanta says everything is Brahman only. You are not able to see because we are in a state of ignorance. Where is that ignorance? Where did it come from? So the biggest philosophical difficulty is the location of avidya or ignorance or maya. Where does it exist? If there is only one Brahman, there is only one consciousness, only one truth. Where is this Brahman? Where is this Ajnana? Now, if you say that it is apart from Brahman, Brahman is there, Ajnana is there, then your concept of oneness goes away. There is Dvaita, there is Brahman, and there is also Ajnana. There are true entities, so it goes there. Or if you say it is in Brahman, then Brahman is also not Shuddha Buddha Mukta Swabhava, it is also not Sachidananda as you claim. So then also Brahman becomes limited because it has Ajnana within itself. So there is no. That's why they say it is Sat, Asat, Anirvachaniya Maya. It's also Sat, it's also Asat, It is anirvachaniya. It cannot be explained by words. That's why it's called Maya. Because why it is Sat? Because you see again and again its existence in so many forms, in so many things. Whatever you do every day, it's a daily experience. It's also asset because it is easily, through arguments, through etc., you can easily prove that it is not real at all. It's like a mirage. It's like all those things which only cloud our vision. In reality, if you go, it's not that at all. And then, yes, it cannot be expressed. Thakur also used to put it very beautifully. Ekmatra Brahma Uchishta Hoini. Brahman is the only thing which never became defiled. वही एक चीज जुटा नहीं हुआ. So that means that. So Maharaj is giving some answer. Again, he says this delusion, this being deluded, the cause of that is his ignorance. How can you know when that ignorance first appeared? As long as you remain in ignorance, all your efforts to realize this will be futile. क्योंकि आप वही अज्ञान के अंदर रह के अज्ञान के बारे में समझना तो संभव नहीं है. Supposing you have blinkers in your eyes, you cannot know the reality of the truth as long as you have. And once the blinkers are removed, the ajnana does not exist at all. You cannot find it anywhere. That's why Swamiji says, what is this Maya? It's like ignorance. Supposing you are in a high state of delirium with 105, 106 fever, then you cannot ask how this fever has come. You won't be in a state to even ask. And once you are cured, the question does not arise. So within Maya, being in a state of ignorance, you can't really know its full nature. You have to come out, be out of it. Then only you can find out what its real nature, whether we are able to understand. So he says, as long as one is dreaming, the dream appears to be reality. Do we ever feel in our dream, oh, it's all only dream, it's not real? It's so real that we get palpitation, people get heart attack, people shiver, people shout. When they wake up, oh, acha, acha, it's all sapna tha. That realization comes when you wake up, not during dream. The same way, as long as you are in a state of ignorance, then it does not strike you at all. Only when you come out of it, you can understand. While perceiving the world in the waking state, so but he also says, in some rare cases, even while dreaming, some might dream that also this is a dream. Very rare of the rarest cases. Maybe one in a million even gets an idea, oh, it's all, I am dreaming like this. Maybe, I have never had such a dream. But he says, similarly, perceiving the world in the waking state, some people have the memory of the non-dual Brahman. Maybe they have a vague idea, vague memory. So, what is the way out? One must eradicate ignorance. I can definitely assure you that delusion and ignorance can be removed. The sages of the past were able to get rid themselves of ignorance and have left us instructions for doing this. So that is our only guide. The Shastras and also those who have lived the life. So Gita says, Yadyat acharati shishtaha tattiya vitaro janaha sayat pramanam kurte lokastadana vartate. What they have lived and proved, ordinary people follow that. So again he says, again he himself raises another question. When so many ordinary people see and experience as unreal, and what only a few stages of experience as real, could it be that their perceptions are wrong? हम सब ठीक देख रहे हैं, ऋषि मुनियों सब गलत देखा, ये भी हो सकता है. You are saying a few sages have seen the truth, but when millions of people seeing it wrongly, and a few people are seeing it rightly, it can be the other way also. Whether there was a great philosopher, he said, he suddenly he had a wonderful dream. It was so real. He felt that he was becoming a butterfly and he was flying. So when he wake up, it seems he asked, was it the Man dreaming as butterfly or the butterfly dreaming as man now? Like, of course, only philosophers can ask such questions, as one of our Swamis put it. But actually, it's a very logical question. No? If millions and millions see it in a particular way, and a very few people might see it differently. Actually, the perceptions do not really mean, because so many are seeing doesn't mean it is true. Even in real life also, supposing there are certain things, something related to great science, something very difficult, sukshma. Ordinary thousands of people might see it one way, but the real knower who is a person who would know what it is. So that does not mean that because thousands of people saw it one way, that is the truth. No, only the real knower. Supposing there's something is glittering, hundreds of people admire, oh, it's a wonderful gold ring. But a goldsmith, array nakli hai, duplicate. Very side, he says. So because hundreds of people said it's a golden ring, that does not mean it is true. Only a person, the real knower, whatever he says, that is true. That is important. So to know what it is also, we should have the capacity to measure, to know, to find out. So you must have the instruments, you must have the qualifications. So that's how it differs. There is no rule that what most people believe is always true. We know that the sages' direct experience are true because with the knowledge they gained, they became free from misery and attained complete fearlessness and eternal peace. So, what is the proof ultimately? How they lived. Those who have discovered, those who have seen the ultimate truth, they were absolutely fearless. They were free from sorrow and suffering, and they were always in deep sense of peace and calmness. That's the real test, ultimately. Is it not? So nothing. If uh, that's why people seek to live a spiritual life. Why people want to do sadhana? Why do people go through all those practices? The very idea is they want to attain complete peace and happiness and so on. इस सब के लिए तो आपका जो करना है. And then, moreover, they discovered the ultimate purpose of all actions and efforts of human life, which inevitably ends in death. ये मनुष्य जीवन क्या है? आप जितनी अमीर हो, गरीब हो, पढ़े लिखे आदमी हो, अनपढ़ा हो, स्त्री हो, पुरुष हो, सबको अंत में मृत्यु है. किसी को कम उम्र में, किसी को ज्यादा में, किसी को 100 में, 100 पार करके भी. But no one lives for eternity. So they know the human life ends in death ultimately. So is there a better way? So unless only when you find out जीवन का सचमुच उद्देश्य क्या है, लक्ष्य क्या है, क्या करना है. Once you know the real purpose and goal of life, then obviously, and you are really going ahead in that direction, when you know clearly this is the path, this is how it is, then you live a totally different life. In addition, this true knowledge manifests itself as forbearance, contentment, compassion, humility, and other noble qualities. It also makes a person's outlook amazingly Catholic. Because now, once they know the truth, they know that all that we talk about, fight, etc., they're all meaningless fights and meaningless differences. At the ultimate level, सब एक हो जाएगा. क्यों? वहां कोई ही फर्क ही नहीं है. There is no difference. There is no differentiation whatsoever. One they know, that is why when they really realize such a state, they develop tremendous forbearance, compassion, contentment, everything. Because see what happens, what is the difference between a person who has truly realized and ordinary people like us? Yes, we may go to temple, we may do some japa, we may do something. But our minds are full of, likes and dislikes, desires to do this, to do that. इसके साथ चलता है, उसके साथ नहीं चलता है, ये मेरा पसंद है, ये नहीं पसंद नहीं है. Every little thing, how much we make fuss about every little thing. Why? Because our mind is deeply rooted here in this world. So वो क्या बोला, उन्होंने क्या बोला, वो मेरे सम्मान किया, वो नहीं किया. Such silly fights. If you sit back and honestly do a soul search, you will laugh at yourself. मैं कैसे व्यवहार कर रहा हूँ? But our minds are so clouded. So we'll never develop those qualities. Only when you are truly spiritually enlightened or awakened, then there will be a deep sense of compassion for everybody. क्यों? ये सब जूझ रहे हैं. These people are simply wallowing in this mud called samsara. They are इसकी योग्य है, योग्य पात्र है for my compassion. So now after feeling deep sense of compassion, they feel that how they are suffering. There's so much, such joy, such beauty is there. They are here as a fighting for small things, fighting for name and fame, fighting for recognition, fighting for this, fighting for that. Endless. Most of the thing, every day, if you finally see what all we fought for, we are so fussy about, really all amount to nothing. Not only that, they are completely satisfied in themselves. Contentment, तृप्ति हम लोग को नहीं होती है ना. खाया तो फिर खाना चाहिए, मिला तो फिर मिलना चाहिए, कोई सम्मान किया तो फिर चाहिए, हर रोज चाहिए, हर एफर्ट में चाहिए, हर 5 मिनट कोई बोले तो अच्छा लगता है, आप इतना अच्छा करते हैं, आप इतना करते हैं. नो, बट अ पर्सन हु हैज रियलाइज्ड दिस, गीता सेज, फॉर हिम नो कर्तव्य सेज, यस्तु आत्मरतिरेव स्यात् आत्मतृप्तश्च मानवः आत्मन्येव च संतुष्टः तस्य कार्यं न विद्यते. आत्मा तो वो सब कुछ और कुछ भी नहीं है उसका. So that is that's the beauty of one who is really evolved, or even those who are who have really reached the goal, so to say. Even otherwise also, even if you're a devotee, as Sri Krishna says, Matchitta Madgata Prana Bodhenta Parasparam Katentascha Mam Nityam Tushyanti Charamanti Cha. So he says, even those, my dear devotees, what do? They're always busy only talking about me, my glory, my songs, my this thing. Everything is centered around me. Whether you center everything around your God or Ishta or whatever it is, or you center everything around Brahman, it's all same. So you have really scaled up your life. You've gone to a higher life. Then for them, nothing else would matter. They will not be bothered. Oh, अच्छा नहीं बोला. सम्मान नहीं दिया क्या है, कुछ भी बात नहीं, स्कीम क्या है. In scriptures, we find evidence of these extraordinary qualities and powers in the lives of sages, and even now we find the same in those who have attained perfection by following in their footsteps. So, for a person like Sardananji, he himself was first of all a great sadhaka. He himself had realized extraordinary spiritual truths. More than that, every step he had watched from at close quarters. जो शास्त्र में जो कहा गया, देखो उनका जीवन में प्रतिफलित है, प्रतिबिंबित है, दिखाई दे रहा है. So when that happens, then there's no doubt. He had experience, no doubt. Once you have an experience, things are absolutely clear, beyond doubt. Vidyate hrideganti, chidyanti, sarva sankshaya. All the knots of the heart are untied, and all the doubts vanish completely. More than that, right before him, he had seen someone, but in whose life all these things were exhibited beyond doubt. No doubt about it. Well, how is it that all of us experience the same delusion? What I recognize an animal, you also see as an animal, not as man. It is the same for all external objects. It is amazing that so many people have the same delusion at the same time regarding all objects. Everyone can see that although some people have a false impression of a certain thing, others correctly perceive the same object. Here we find an exception. Your position seems to be indefensible. This is the question he himself has raised. Why are we all having the same kind of delusion? What I see as man, you also see as man. What I Of course, that's also exactly may not be so correctly true, because quite often our perceptions vary according to the situation, according to your state of mind. Suddenly, if you are in a very, uh, supposing you have seen something, a horror movie, or read something, your mind is full of this thing. Suddenly, it's just like darkness. You see the rope, you suddenly see it a snake. So there are, it's not that, but generally the same delusion for such a vast number of people, there is a question. But Maharaj says, no. Why do you say that? There is an exception. And you are not including those exceptions or sages. It's not all of us are seeing. There are sages who see it differently. Even in this very world, when they live, they see it differently. All these are happening. How do you say that it's all same only? There's nothing else? No, that statement is also not correct. So you ask how all people can be under the same delusion. The scriptures say in reply, the universe has arisen by way of ideation in the limitless, infinite cosmic mind. That is a very beautiful explanation. How all these have appeared. It's just an idea in what is called an universal mind or a cosmic mind. Just as you have individual minds, there's a universal mind or cosmic mind. This is virtually the sum total or is a totality of all the individual minds. So we all experience the same mental images because the individual minds of yours, mine, and all people are parts and included in the cosmic mind. Because the ideas have originally arisen in the cosmic mind. As part of that cosmic mind, all of us are seeing the same thing. That is why we cannot see an animal in any way we like, nor can we perceive it to be other than the animal. Similarly, one among us may remain under, attain true knowledge, and become free from all delusion, while others remain under spell. Because rarest to the rare, that kind of highest realization, then they become free. The rest, they continue to be in such a delusion. Similarly, one among us may attain true knowledge. Although the world arises in the cosmic mind of the divine being by ideation, he is not affected by the bond of ignorance as we are, because he is omniscient. He sees that non-dual Brahman thoroughly pervades this world, which originated from ignorance. So you might ask, just as we're all that small mind, we are seeing this, there's a trace of ignorance or this in our mind. So is it true for the cosmic mind also? No, because the whole thing originated only in the cosmic mind, was willingly created. Sambhavami Atma Maya. So, Thakur gives a beautiful example. There is poison in the fang of the snake. The snake eats its food daily with those fangs and is not at all affected. But a person bitten by a snake dies instantly. There's such powerful poison. Just one bite, it might die. But that's eating daily. So, similarly, the cosmic mind, the idea arose out of which the world was created. But the cosmic mind, the mind of the Ishvara, of the Supreme God, he is not affected in any way because it's his own will only all that has happened. He is not conditioned by any of those things. From the standpoint of the scriptures, it can be seen that the world is only an idea in the cosmic mind, is in a way imagined by our minds as well. Our limited individual minds have an eternal and inseparable relation to the collective cosmic mind, like one's limbs with the rest of one's body. Just as the limbs are all connected to the body, similarly, the individual minds are all linked to the cosmic mind. One cannot say that in earlier time the idea of the world did not exist, the cosmic mind, and in later time, uh, and that it's later arose. So one cannot define this world in terms of time. That's why Srishti is Anadi. Anadi and Ananta. Goes on and on, but eternity. Name, form, or space and time, without which there cannot be any diversity in creation, are included in the idea of the world. The world itself, what does it mean actually? First of all, it is Namarupa. and then Deshakal, space and time, and name and form. All these are all in this ideation and the creation of the idea of the world. So essentially, are all this. So they are eternally inseparable from that idea. You can never separate Namarupa, Deshkala from the world of the idea. So unless you separate, you cannot bring the idea when it was created. It's there, it is there. The moment you become liberated, the moment you attain the highest knowledge, you become free from it. But till then, it's always there. It's not that at a particular time it was created or particular time it was. Sanadi Ananta Kal se chalta rehta hai. The basic cause of creative power is without beginning and beyond time. That's why Vedic scriptures have taught that Prakriti or Maya is without beginning and beyond time. If the world is an idea of the mind, and if the beginning of that idea is not within what we know as time, then it will be the idea of time and the idea of world exist simultaneously in the cosmic mind. Because the idea very world itself is of the cosmic mind. And we are not able to relate it to what we know as time. Then the idea of time and the idea of the world were always in the cosmic mind. So only because with your little individual minds, we are able to connect the moment we are born. And then when we die, when we take another body, again the connection. So all the while it's there, cosmic mind, the world is there, the idea is there. See, the time, etc. are all only with respect to us, individuals. Supposing I die, then one phase of that time ends. Again, when there is a new birth and new body, again the time, the clock of time starts ticking. But then in the meanwhile, had the world got vanquished, or as the world was swept away, was there any pralaya or anything like that? World and time were already there. So as you enter the body, as you develop awareness, as soon as your mind is kind of connected to the cosmic mind, the idea of time and the idea of world come into operation. So it was always there. So whenever you get connected, you get the idea. Because our limited individual minds have been experiencing this idea that is world for a very long time, we are firmly convinced that the world is real. क्योंकि इतनी साल से बचपन से देख 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 देखे हम लोग सोच रहे हैं हाँ ये तो सच है ठीक है. For a long time we have been deprived with the direct experience of non-dual Brahman who is beyond the imaginary world. As we have said earlier, we are able to recognize deluded ideas or perceptions only by comparing them with the real things and states. So only when we know सच क्या है अब जानते हैं तब तो आप उसके साथ कंपेयर करके पता चल पाएंगे. You'll know only when you know the truth. This is only when a good ornament and a fake ornament they're together side by side. Ordinary people can know at that time, yes, this is a duplicate and this is real. So unless we get an idea of what is totally real, so we'll be only thinking about this world and think that it is only true or the real. Now it is clear that our experience, conceptions about and experiences the world have taken their present form as a result of habits accumulated for a long period of time. So what's our concept of the world, behavior, men, people, everything is what we have through our habits for long years formed. Yes, so and so. We say Goelji is a very nice person. Why? So many years we know him, we think so and so is not so good. So and so is wicked. Like this world, this sweet, this is salty, this is good, this is bad, this is liquid, this is solid. Everything is because of from time immemorial we have been experiencing the world in various bodies, as a result of which we have formed certain ideas, and that's how we conduct ourselves. If we want to have the right knowledge about the world, we shall have to realize that truth which is beyond name and form, space and time, mind and intellect, and other attributes of the world. The effort to know the truth has been called sadhana by the Vedas and other scriptures. This effort exists knowingly and unknowingly in men and women who in India are called sadhakas or spiritual aspirants. So he's clearly trying to explain what is this sadhana. This effort to know the truth. Because how would you know the truth? Because you are conditioned by space and time. You are conditioned by nama and rupa. You are conditioned by the mind and intellect. So now only when you go beyond all these are all within the realm of the world, within the realm of the senses. So only when you go beyond that, you will know what it is true, what is the real truth, which is beyond all that. Generally speaking, the effort is called sadhana, and those who make this effort are called sadhaks or sadhakas. This effort to know the truth transcends the world as developed along two main paths. So then Sardanji talks about the two main approaches to the ultimate. One is the non-dual, that from the beginning you have some clear idea of the ultimate. The ultimate is one Shuddha Buddha Mukta Swabhava Brahman or Atman, which has no limitations, is beyond time, space, and causation, which is birthless, deathless, ajara, amara, etc. etc. So from the beginning, you keep that in mind and you start going towards that. The other path is Dvaita or the path of duality, where you go slowly, slowly, slowly. Your view of the truth keeps on getting refined or subtler and subtler as we go forward. In the beginning itself, that ultimate truth may not be very, very clear. You start with the idea of your own ishta and your own devotion. You start the journey, but slowly at the end, he says you also reach the same non-dual experience at the end of your journey. There's no difference in the ultimate experience. So he gives one explanation. The negative and the positive. One thing is the negative part means negating everything. Positive means approving or accepting everything. What is this negative path? It is described in the scriptures as neti neti. Not this, not this. The path of knowledge. Why not this, not this? Because you have nothing to say what it is. Brahman is only that one consciousness. It has no parts. It has nothing, no objective reality. There is nothing called which you can identify. When all those, when it has no quality, it is a nirgun nirakar. It is neither roop, neither name nor form. It is beyond space, beyond causation. Now, beyond time. So how do you identify that? You can identify it only negatively. This is Brahman. No, not this. What is Brahman? We cannot say because it has no objective reality. It has no qualities. It cannot be identified. It cannot be delimited. It cannot be confined within a space. When none of those things apply, the only way to describe is a negative way. Not this, not this, not this, not this, not this. Ultimately, when you realize, आपको बहुत सुंदर बताते हैं. Piyaj, if you keep removing the coverings one after another, layer after layer, finally nothing remains. That's the final. Because why nothing? What is it you cannot say? There's nothing called nothing actually. It's also something. Even nothing is also some description only. Na? So you're also describing. Nothing is also something. So what it is we cannot say. So that's why you call it Shunya or nothing. So Buddhists call it as Shunya. And the Advaitists call it as Brahman. Brahman means show me what is Brahman. You cannot show. So they say no, nothing. They say cannot be shown. It is Shunya. It has no description. So what you reach the ultimate by saying Neti Neti, that is Brahman. And then the second path he says is Iti Iti, is a path of devotion. What is Iti? This is God's creation. This is God's manifestation. This is God's Leela. This is God's prema. This is God's compassion. This is God's love. This is everything is belonging to God. Ishavashimidam sarvam etkincha jagatyan jagat. Kena tektena bhunjita magrita kasasvidhanam. So everything is positive, positive, this, everything, affirmation, positive path. The aspirant who follows the path of knowledge understands the ultimate goal from the beginning. Remembering the goal, the aspirant consciously moves towards it every day. I mean, if one is a very serious sadhaka, when you know that whatever you see, whatever you experience, whatever you hear, cannot be described. Because the moment you say something, is this Brahman? No, no, no. Neti, neti. It cannot be. Why? Because the moment you say this, then it is a form. It is a nama. It is a rupa. It is within time, within space. It's not Brahman. Neti, neti. What is that ultimate? That which is beyond time, beyond space, beyond nama, beyond rupa, beyond mind, beyond intellect. So, till you get that, keep on negating everything. Keep on negating everything. So, you know that what is the goal? Ultimately, you have to reach that where there is no form, no name, no time, no space, no mind, no intellect. What is that? I don't know. Now only know this is not that. What is that? I don't know. But this is not that. I know. So नेति नेति इसके हटाओ ये ना कई बार बोलते हैं ना अरे वो चीज लेके आना वो चीज लेके आना उस दिन मैं देख के गया था दुकानदार बोल रहे हैं साहब यही है नहीं नहीं ये हटाओ ये है ये नहीं ये नहीं है ये नहीं है ये नहीं है जितना दिखा रहा है नहीं है क्यों आप भी भूल गए उसका भी याद नहीं the same thing we have forgotten what is Brahman whatever comes somebody is asking is this Brahman no 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 not this नेति 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 चलता रहता the aspirant. So, followers a path of devotion, however, are not fully aware of that ultimate goal. Yes, of course, they have a this one way of putting it. They know for the time being that they and their ishta, they and their object of worship. That's all they know for the time being. Ultimately, where they go, they have no idea. But how they proceed, they move forward by adopting higher and higher ideas, one after another, until they finally have direct experience of the non dual reality beyond the world. So, Shatmas also clearly says they also ultimately get only the same non dual experience, the path of devotion. Because somewhere else, I think it's all discussed more in great detail in some other places where he compares in Vedanta sadhana also probably or the ultimate experience is different there somewhere else. I clearly remember somewhere else it will come. But here he has not discussed in great detail. Now what happens, in the path of devotion, again there is a vague idea about the ultimate. One's own Ishtadevata, my Gopala, my Sri Krishna, my Durga, my Shiva, my Thakur, my Mera Ma hai. So we start with a loving relationship, depending upon. Quite often, as a normal devotee, they always feel there's a huge distance. Shiva is somewhere sitting in the heaven. मैं तो यहाँ हूँ तो कैलाश में है मैं यहाँ उसका पूछता हूँ आई एम वर्शिपिंग हिम हियर मैं भोग चढ़ाता हूँ धूप चढ़ाता हूँ दीप जलाता हूँ चलता रहता है so then there is initially there's always a huge difference between me and my God. मैं इतनी साधारण हूँ मेरा बहुत सीमित क्षमता है कुछ नहीं जानता हूँ मैं अंध हूँ मैं ये हूँ से हूँ वो everything is a repository of all qualities all gunas everything whereas I am a very ordinary limited individual. This idea we start but then slowly as you go forward then he becomes more and more advanced. Nee. Oh, there also earlier also we saw from Tadiya to Madhyata. I belong to God. I am God's son, child, devotee. That's one thing. But then even a more intimate relation is he is my God, my Gopala. Shoda never thought that he is the conquering God. That he is her own son. Like that she used to uski शासन करती थी बांधती थी रस्सी से all those things. Why? Because it's far more intimate, my own. So as the devotee goes forward in his search of his Ishta, he becomes more and more closer. As he goes forward, the devotee understands that I may be, whatever I do, Saul, what is this? Because, I have so much of limitation, so much of problems, so much of negativity. But because the God is all compassionate, all loving, so He forgives, He forgets. Again and again, He gives me a chance. Again and again, He gives me a place. And slowly, as one goes on, erasing one's ego, going forward, 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 ultimately, a stage comes and He says, there's nothing left of me. मेरा अहंकार, मेरे ऐसे कोई पहचान बिल्कुल कुछ नहीं है. There's only one God, my Ishta. I have lost all my individuality. I have nothing left of me. It's all completely merged in God. That's also a one kind of non-dual experience where there's only the ultimate, the Ishta or the supreme. He or she alone is present. He or she also we are using because somewhere we use, otherwise it doesn't mean he or she also anything. So that idea, ultimately, there's only the Ishta. The devotee has been completely erased. The devotee has completely merged or has been melted into God as it were. So that's also a very high state of non-dual experience. At the time, he need not uh, you'd realize not only he is everything, is the same Sachidananda Swarup, the Krishna of the highest. It's same that like the very same like the non-dual Brahman. Maybe you call it Sachidananda Krishna, but really it is nothing but the non-dual truth. So that kind of experience is also possible. It's what he says. Reality beyond the world. The followers. So the followers of both paths must renounce the idea about the reality of the world that is held by ordinary people. Here also, even as a devotee, as he evolves, as he goes forward, in the case of those who are following the path of ज्ञाना तो कोई सवाल ही नहीं है. पहले से सारे जगत का सारा एक्सपीरियंशियल वर्ल्ड, सारा एग्जिस्टेंशियल वर्ल्ड का हमेशा उसका स्वीकार करके नकार करके आगे जाना है. But the path of devotion, maybe initially they try to think the roads are God's creation. But as they evolve, they also feel that this world has no meaning. We should go beyond, go to that world of Sri Krishna. इनके सानिध्य, सामीप्य, सायुज्य का नजदीक जाना, तब मैं ऐसी अनुभव करूंगा. So he loses all attraction or idea about the world. So then only he also goes forward. Tries to renounce this idea completely from the beginning, the Jnani. The devotee begins sadhana by partly renouncing the world and partly holding on to it, but eventually realizes the truth one without a second and renounces everything, as is the Jnani. Giving up ordinary, selfish, sense pleasure oriented idea about the world. Giving up all this is called vairagya with the scriptures. वैराग्य क्या है? ये जगत का हम लोग जैसे ही समझते हैं वही संपूर्ण वही सब आपका सोच विचार छोड़ना. Because this world is sansara se nissara. There's no sara in sansara. It's only dhokadari hai. It only cheats as always. There's nothing. That when one is completely immersed in that idea, one has to get to that idea. That is called vairagya or virakti. And that is one of the important necessities for doing intense sadhana. Because why we are not able to do sadhana intensely? Even now the world attracts so beautifully. We are good. Maybe we are ethical, we are moral, we don't tell lies, maybe we don't steal, we don't accept bribe. But the world is still very real to us. Our wife, our husband, our son, our daughter-in-law, son-in-law, our house, our car, our property, our this thing, everything is very real to us. We take care of it, we do everything. As long as these things are so real to us, it's not possible to go beyond a point. It can do sadhana. But as you intensify sadhana, the attraction for all this must go, must reduce. Otherwise, it is not possible to advance much. You may live anywhere, you may live in a monastery, you may live in a house. It hardly makes a difference. You can be the most attached person living in a monastery, you must be the most detached person living in the world. Everything is possible. But the fact is, Even as a monk, if you're only concerned with the existential things, you cannot advance much in the path of sadhana. To do intense sadhana, the world must become unreal to us. All attractions for the world must end. Then only it is possible to advance in the path of sadhana. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu. Tomorrow we have a spiritual retreat, but again we wish to tell you there are no